question was asked, well, if we had all the natural resources on the planet in Africa, then what were we sold into slavery for? Like, what was the exchange? Because we had all the natural resources. What was the exchange? And if I tell you, you'd be upset. But we were sold into slavery for technology. Period. We were sold into slavery for guns, clothes, and liquor, primarily.
Wow.
That's what we were sold. Or what they call manufactured goods. You know what I'm saying? You do any research on what they call the triangle trade, it was manufactured goods. It was technology that we were sold into slavery for. That was what we were. Now, why is that important? Because this is the difference between faith and works, or combining the two. If we had all the natural resources on the planet there, and we were making practical use of our natural resources, if we wanted a gun, if we wanted liquor, if we wanted clothes, we would have made it. We wouldn't have. It wouldn't have been like, oh, okay, I want that gun. Let me sell you my brother. Let me sell you my sister. And again, that's a point of contention. Now I know I'm really digressing. That's a point of contention because people don't want.
It's okay. Go ahead.
I mean, because people don't want to accept the reality that our brothers and sisters sold us into slavery. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't, I didn't want to accept. Look, if you were talking to me 10 years ago about my brothers and sisters selling this, I was like, you trying to make it, man? You trying to get a white man to break? You would sell out. You know what I'm saying? I would have said that. You know what I'm saying? Until I actually took a trip onto the continent and looked in the eyes of multiple chiefs. Not just one, multiple chiefs. And when you ask them about slavery, they don't even want to talk to you about it because they already know, because you're African American, they already know that there's going to be. And when they finally tell you, they break down, they start crying, and they tell you the story. And just like, because I grew up in an Afrocentric community, so just like how here, we believe that that white people just came to Africa and just start snatching up. this is what we believe. We believe that the white people came to Africa on a boat. They never been there before, 20, 50 strong maybe. And they just start snatching up thousands of Africans, carrying them onto the boat, and they kidnap. That's what we believe. And when you look at it, you realize how ridiculous that belief is. It wouldn't have happened. You don't kidnap. You're gonna take at least 2 to 3 people to take me. I'm sorry. And you talking about Shaquille O'Neal? You talking about LeBron James, Serena? These are big people. It's not. They don't have enough manpower. The only way it would have went down is if our brothers and sisters were doing it or were helping. You know what I'm saying? And they were helping for technology. They were helping for things. They wanted to obtain things that they had the resources, that we had the resources to create. But we didn't because we had fallen into a doctrine of pure faith with our works. We had fallen into a doctrine of spookism so hard. And so our brothers, they have made amends. You know what I'm saying? They have made amends. They have made reparations. They have apologized. If anyone ever gets the opportunity, anybody who ever is listening now or comes across this show, if you get an opportunity to go to Fihankra, just Google Fihankra International. I don't know the website off the top of my head. It's FIHANKRA. And it explains the whole process by which, several chiefs in Ghana have offered up thousands of acres of land to descendants of the African slave trade that they admit that they sold into slavery, and they're offering this land in a method and a means of atonement and reparations for their activity, because they feel as if Africa has been cursed for their action. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, because you talked about it on the last show, but I'm glad you brought it up on this show, because it could be some of our brothers and sisters listening to you for the first time now that didn't catch that last show. So I'm glad that you did bring that up again, because I know when you mentioned it the last time, that really touched my heart, that that is something that's on their mind. I was like you years ago, like I didn't want to believe that our people actually took part in that. But then when, like you said, when you take a step back and really look at the situation, and it's like, okay, well, they had to have some help. There's no way that they could have really pulled that off, by themselves. So it had to be help. So it's a hard thing to wrap your mind around, and I do think it's significant to the time right now in terms of knowing this information. Atonement is a form of healing, really, and that's one of the things I teach is healing. It does make sense to talk about this on Divine Minds because that's really what we're trying to do. That's how you move forward. Life is a series of healings, and the only way you're going to be able to really move forward is if you deal with those things and go ahead and try to make yourself wrap your mind around it and just accept it. Because the more you can do that, then the easier it is to start understanding a lot of these things and do what, like Brother Osaidan said he had to do. Eventually you have to stop asking other people questions and go within yourself and ask yourself questions that you need to know, whether it's about scientific concepts, whether it's about spirituality, whether it's about what's really happening what really happened with our African history. And you have to start taking that time to go within yourself and ask yourself those questions and trust what you receive. And then that'll help you move forward. But you do have to do work, too. So I emphasize that so much because I used to be one of those ones that just want to sit around on faith and just wait on, whoever. And so it's kind of like you just can't do that because you will be stagnant. Nothing will happen. Nothing will move. And you just can't allow that to happen. You have power within you that is very great, that is very positive, that you can tap into. And so what Brother Osaidan is doing with his books, what I do, what a lot of us are out here trying to do is basically give you tools, basically, so you could do something. All it takes is a little something, and then the universe will meet you the rest of the way. Really, that's my belief. So.
Oh yeah, I mean that's very true. You know what I mean? I mean, like they say, they say rich ain't cocaine is a hell of a drug, man. Religion is a hell of a drug. You know what I'm saying? We all been there. We all been there, sitting and waiting, just relying on faith. You know what I'm saying? Like religion is so ill because, and again, if you're religious, I apologize, but I'm speaking my truth. I'm speaking the realities that I've come to. And again, I've been religious. You know what I'm saying? I've been deeply. I was Muslim for most of my life. Like, you talk about 5 prayers a day plus Sunnah prayers. You spend the majority of your life praying. We're asking for something to help and not doing it. So I'm like, I've been there, but this is the reality that I came to. Religion is so ill because they hit you with this God concept and they hit you with this devil. The God concept basically like, okay, I have a problem. I'm gonna call on you. You come solve my problem for me. I'm not gonna do anything. I'm just gonna say help me, and you're gonna solve it. Now, now let's say you get over the God thing, but then you still got the devil thing. The devil thing is like I don't have to take responsibility for my problems. It's the devil's fault. So it's like you completely removed from the situation. Like all of your problems. The cause of your problems ain't your fault, and the solution to your problems ain't your fault. And now you just, that is ill. It's a hell of a drug. It's a hell of a drug, but you know what I mean? When you step out of that, and you realize you got to do something. You know what I'm saying? You realize that, if we were sold into slavery for technology, that means you need technical information so you can make practical application of your natural resources. And your natural resources aren't just necessarily the physical, tangible minerals of the earth. They're also information. That's a natural resource. Knowing a whole lot of information that you can't use it's just like having a whole lot of natural resources that you're not using. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Both situations will create the mentality and the personality that could potentially sell themselves or their brother and sister into slavery because they're not making a practical application of the information. And again, that was the purpose and intention of the African Creation Energy books, to make practical, provide information that was practical in its application, that was useful, that could transform information, other information that you may have received from other sources, and put that into practical application so that we could develop technologies, so that we could be efficient thinkers. You know what I'm saying? That was my intention behind the whole thing, and I hope it has an impact.
Yeah, it is having an impact. It is having one. I'm almost positive about that because I know it's had an impact on me. I know anyone who's ever picked up any of your books. I mean, you got people out here. I've seen videos, people out here promoting you, telling people about your books and wearing your T-shirts. And so you're having your impact, and it's a good thing because a lot of us, even me, I didn't know until just now when you said it, what we were traded for. I knew we were supposed to be traded for something. I just didn't know what it was. And I mean, obviously, it just kind of boils down to economics. Really.
Economics. All right, that's the other side. Technology and economics. You don't, because this is how we're being economically exploited. If you grow bananas on your country, on your soil, naturally, they all in the forest, there's absolutely no reason in the world you should be importing bananas from another country, period. That's basic economics. So there are two, and I say that to say, because I know for a fact that there are many African countries that are importing bananas, and they're not African bananas. What the hell are you importing bananas for? That's simple economics. So that's a science. That's information that our people need. You know what I'm saying? Our people need, and
right.
you give them love. Economics, science, and technology. Our people have been spiritual. We got spiritual systems down. But when we can merge our spiritual systems with that information that we're missing, which is leading, which is contributing to keeping us in this negative state that we're in, when we can merge our spiritual science with technological and scientific and economic science, when we can merge the two, ain't no stopping us. Then we'll go from surviving and just getting by to thriving and dictating situations on the planet.
Right. Because to me, it's ironic in a way that, okay, if that's what we were traded for, like liquor and guns and clothes, and it seemed to me like every time I turn around, I'm reading something that's saying that, our community is one of the biggest consumers of those three things.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, okay, and then you adding that piece of information to this tonight, it just the dots connected for me just now. Like, okay, I see what's going on.
It hurts when you think about it. When you think you realize you were sold into slavery for technology, and people stay in slavery for technology. One of the reasons why people don't want to come up out of this situation is because they believe that it's technologically better here. I mean, in terms of the house, the plumbing, the electricity. You were sold into slavery for technology, liquor, and clothes, and you stay in slavery for technology, iPad, cell phone, liquor, the rock, and clothes. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's deep.
Yes.
It's deep.
Yeah, and I mean, and like you said, it's a painful thought, but it's unfortunate, but it does make perfect sense when you really think about what's happening. It's like, okay, you sold into the slavery, you stay in it because you feel like, well, if I don't have these things, then what do I have? I don't have anything. So your self-sufficiency, all of that just goes out the window, and you don't even think that is even possible anymore, or you're kind of blinded kind of living life with these blinders on, thinking that you are being self-sufficient when you're really not. You're still caught. It's like it goes back to what Brother Osai Don and I talked about in the last show about that dependency theory. You think that you're independent and you're really not. So that's a part of the illusion that we're living under. So that's interesting. Okay, hopefully we've planted some seeds tonight so people will start researching and really thinking about these things and start taking some sort of action on their own. And
I don't want to leave anybody broken, you know what I mean? But, my purpose, again, the purpose of the African Creation Energy book is to provide that motivation, that inspiration, and that information that will enable you to do for self. You don't have to rely on others who may not have your best interests at heart. So, again, that information is provided for that very purpose. After a critical analysis of the problem, I recognize that was the problem. Try to put forth information and solutions, creative solution-based technical consulting. Try to put forth solutions to all the problems.